Hello everyone, I'm here with Zenrot. Zen?
I said, hey guys, did it finally cut out?
Yeah, it finally cut out, because now it's a real stream between us. We're here to talk about Shonen Ore Collection, because I finally was able to get Zen into the game after I don't know how many tries.
It took a lot of tries, but once you get a meta team, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, which is, I wish the game was better at doing that, and it's making small steps, but that's not what we're talking about, because we'll talk about that later. We actually want to talk about a new unit that's dropping, because he's super exciting. Zen, why don't you tell him the new unit that's dropping?
All over Twitter if you follow either one of us, because it's like all we tweet about lately. But it's Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the Cell Saga, so Super Saiyan 2 Kid Gohan.
Mm-hmm. In Ore Collection, he's only known as Son Gohan, so you can actually use the free-to-play Gohan to increase the overboost of this Gohan, as if he wasn't already super good.
It is sort of like, if you want to compare it to Dokkan, it's almost like the dupe grid.
Yes, a little bit like that. It's real interesting. So let's just break down real quick what he does. I think you have it right in front of you, so why don't you tell us what he does?
So he's a DPS class unit, so you need to use DPS materials to farm up his skills, which you called that a while ago, actually.
Yeah, I figured it's because it fit with the father-son dynamic, because Kid Goku is DPS, but Super Saiyan Goku is an all-arounder, and Gohan is an all-arounder as a kid, and so I figured, like, in his Super Saiyan 2 form, he should have DPS. Especially if
he absolutely is.
Yeah, especially if they're going to have, like, father-son Kamehameha be his ult.
So his skills are really fast. His first skill is negate all status debuffs on this unit, boost his skill damage by a mega amount, which is a new one for me. Is that higher than extreme?
Oh yeah, so I think you weren't playing the game when they made this change, but I think it goes like, I know Mega's pretty big. The only thing bigger than it is Super Mega or Ultra Mega.
It's okay, like, so Mega's one of the biggest.
Yeah,
okay.
It's an insane. It's pretty big. It's like it's the second biggest.
Status debuffs on this unit. Boost this unit's skill damage by a mega amount for 2 turns, which is the majority of an arena fight.
Yeah.
And inflict 250 damage to the target selected.
Yeah, which is about, I think, on par with what Dai does with one of his skills. So if you can imagine the damage.
Right now, actually, but yeah, so, and that's a 21-second cooldown, so that's quick. What's that comparable to somebody else?
I think I want to say Killawaz is around 21 seconds as well.
Is exactly the same speed as Dai's skills? You use them at exactly the same time?
Yeah, they're around the same speed, but Dai also has like that 30% cut. So in theory, like, he'll be just behind Dai.
Yeah. And then his skill 2 is 200% damage that ignores defense to the enemy front row. I don't know how important ignoring defense is in this game.
Consider that Vivi now has a skill. Her ult increases defense by a large amount, and there's a lot of units that, like there's the soccer wall guy. Naruto has a defense. Like, there's a lot of units with like defense buffs that it's useful, but it's also not like. It's like as what you would expect, let's say.
Okay, fair enough. And then his third skill is 200% damage to the target and a further 250% damage. That's 2 hits.
It seems really good.
Right, okay. So those are Gohan's skills. Gohan's passives, he boosts the attack of all Heart team members by a medium amount, as if Dai needed to be stronger than he already is.
Yeah, Heart is currently the greatest synergy team. Like, it's like not even fair. It's like literally like there's like an A curve and they're completely blowing the curve to every other team.
And it's really funny too that they released Gohan for that team. Like, the next big guy is going on the team that's already the best one.
Yeah, the one they buffed to high heavens.
His second passive is when team members are 4 or less, boost Gohan's attack by a large amount. So as soon as someone dies,
yeah,
he gets an attack buff for the rest of the game.
Yeah, when you have dies going against each other, it happens pretty quickly. Against certain teams, this will never happen though. But I like them keeping up with the. We'll continue with the last skill, then I'll say my point.
Right. So his last passive is when he is the only unit left, reduce his damage received by a large amount. So he takes a lot less damage when he's the last one alive.
Yeah, and I like that they've kind of built. A lot of units are built in a very specific way to try and fit the unit that it is, and I like the idea that this Gohan, the one that is the father-son Kamehameha, is stronger when he's the only one left.
Yep.
When he's the only last line of defense, this dude he's got your back.
All Might is a lot like that too. I love the way they did him.
Yeah, yeah. He's definitely made to be like a... Like, he shows up on the scene and immediately just completely screws up the team.
Right, but once he runs out of time, that's it. He's never getting his cooldowns back.
Yeah, yeah. Which is a real problem because his stuff is like... His ult is at like a cooldown of like 100 something. And when you get like 5% off of that, it's almost impossible for you to actually do it. When you get 10% off, it's actually impossible to ult with him at all.
So anyway, back to Gohan.
Yeah.
Once you awaken him, his ultimate attack is the Father-Son Kamehameha, which is 600 damage to all enemies, front row and back row, and an additional 300% damage to the target enemy.
Which is basically a good way to confirm a guts kill.
Yeah, it's pretty much a hard counter guts kill.
Yeah.
And it cripples the rest of the party, too.
Yep.
Cooldown is 33, so it's faster than, like, Goku and Naruto, slower than Yusuke, but only a little bit slower.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yusuke has the added benefit of boosting his forward a little bit, which helps out in some situations. But Yusuke also has, like, one that only hits the front row. And only once. So...
True guts.
Yeah, that too.
Dai does roll Gohan forward.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Bobobo also rolls.
That's true. You use Bobo with Yusuke.
Yeah, they're comparable, I would say.
Yeah.
And then what's his skill for?
His fourth skill, which seems really good, is it boosts the ultimate attack damage of Heart team members by an extreme amount. So that's like your super attack for 2 turns, which is pretty much the whole fight. And then you roll forward the ultimate attack cooldowns of every team member other than Gohan himself by 10%.
Yeah, at first I thought that was only Heart members get the roll forward, but everyone gets the roll forward.
Yeah, yes.
So that makes units like Naruto, Lee, like basically a lot of units that are just too slow currently and don't really have a person to excel them forward become much more dangerous because now like you can no longer ignore them for the majority of the fight.
I think Lee and Naruto also are pretty much like the de facto ultimates that end the game no matter what. It doesn't matter what the screen situation is.
Yeah, it's very hard to stop them once they get to it. Even with someone with an extremely high tier Heart team, like, even if I don't see Lee as often as I see Naruto, but if I see Lee, I immediately go for him. Because I do not want him to ult at all.
Right. And then, I mean, 10%, Naruto has a 36-second cooldown, so 10% of that is almost 4 seconds. So he'll ult almost at the exact same time that Gohan himself will, which is faster than Goku.
Yes. And also, Naruto is maybe the one counter I can think of to Heart team, because the second he ults, if he's the only dude on the team that is ulting, that is usually enough just because of how crazy powerful his ult is.
Yeah, his ult's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the drawback is that it's slightly slow, so like not the slowest, but it's slow enough that he might be the only unit left alive when he's actually using it.
Right.
And this makes it so he can now use it when there's still like a full team there. So you really have to be like thinking of like in PvP, which dudes do you want to cut down? Because now if I see Gohan, I'm kind of going for Gohan now.
Oh yeah, Gohan's got to go.
Yeah, Gohan's got to go because there's like literally a giant fat time limit on you now. If you can't stop Gohan and you don't have Gohan, then you have effectively lost.
Speaking of giant fat time limit, that skill is 21 seconds.
Yeah.
If you use it with Light on your team, it turns Light's ult to 27 seconds. So Light will ult 6 seconds after you use that skill.
Like, Light needed to be better than he already was.
Gohan's ridiculous, like in a big way.
Yeah, I think he's ridiculous in like two completely different ways. One, you can either build him up as like a skill monster, and he can just completely not as strong as Naruto, because Naruto has that insane attack skill that hits like 4 fucking times, and then he can attack 4 times after it. But he has something similar where he can just like completely destroy a team with his skills, or you can run him more supportive and also still have an extremely strong skill.
Yeah, his ult is one of the faster nukes. The only one I can think of off the top of my head with a faster flat second rate is Yusuke.
Yeah.
And I guess if you count All Might's but All Might doesn't even nuke anybody really. So
no. If you consider it one that attacks everyone, the only person that is legit fast is Senna, because he hits everyone at the start of the game.
Light.
Yeah.
Does Light hit the back row? He does, doesn't he?
He does, but I mean just in terms of like there's a unit that literally just like at the start of the match he hits everyone and it's super low damage, but it still does hit right at the start of the
football boy. Ice Shield 21.
Yes, Ice Shield 21. That is the only one that is faster than him. But you can't compare the damage.
No. I mean, good lord, a team of something like you have All Might, you have Dai, and you have Vivi. That's like the main core along with Gohan, I think. And then I think you can drop Goku for Light. I think you can drop Goku for Naruto.
Yeah.
I don't think you even... God, I remember when people thought the buff was originally for Dragon Ball characters only. And everyone was like, oh yeah, they saved Goku. I think they kind of killed Goku.
So yeah, let me take it as someone who currently ran into a problem of Goku's too squishy. Goku's having a problem where he's still like completely good. The problem is that he has very little defense. Like his greatest defense is that at the start of the turn, 1 damage is blocked. And that's nothing when you compare it to Light, who can take up to 6 hits of damage. And then there's Naruto, who just straight up takes damage reduction until like the end of the first turn that he's actually hit. So if you wait till turn 2 and then he gets hit, it's almost impossible to actually kill him. So he's running into a problem that a lot of like newer dudes aren't, which is that he just doesn't have much survivability.
So why that's important too is that the AI skill targeting is based on who they'll kill the fastest.
Yes.
So if Goku is out, the AI you can't bait the AI away from him. Whereas someone like, Light, it doesn't matter because he's eating all those hits. It doesn't matter. But like Naruto, the AI is not going to go for Naruto.
And if they
he can just sit there.
Yeah, and if they do go for Naruto, you know for a fact he's not going to take a lot of damage. Like, for example, Killua's the only one that might target him, and he'll completely waste his ult.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to Naruto. It does, like, no damage.
It does no damage. And the only problem you'll get from Killua is that he'll lower his cooldowns, but then that becomes null and void when you factor in Gohan's force.
The 10% roll forward.
Yeah.
Plus, when you have Gohan on the team, even if he nukes Naruto's cooldowns and Naruto can't go off, Gohan will just kill them with the Kamehameha.
Yes. It's kind of like a thing of like you have to plan carefully to know which units you can kill. And people like me who have Super Saiyan Goku are running into a small problem of Goku just ain't getting it done like he used to. Still an incredibly useful unit, just not as crazy survivable as you would hope.
You know who gives Goku trouble also that won't give Gohan trouble is that PvP unit that everybody runs with Light.
Oh, Nero.
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy. So he prevents, is it all purple units can't have their cooldowns reduced?
Anyone that has the cool-headed characteristic. So Light is cool-headed, and that's why he can't have his cooldowns taken down. When you combine that with AI, or no, her name is I, it basically makes Light a nuke that you have to take down with damage because that's his only weakness. Yep.
And so Goku's big boon is that while he has a kind of it's not a weak nuke by any means, but it's weaker than like Naruto.
Yeah.
But the advantage is that it cuts cooldown. But now with units blocking his ability to do that, it hurts him a lot.
Yeah. And I feel like that's definitely something that the game is going to be going towards it more, because there's currently only 2 units that Nero is the one that can do it to an entire people. There's the raid unit Waifu, who I forget her name, who you can't lower her cooldowns. Senna, you can't stop his ult no matter what you try and do. So there are starting to be units that, like, it used to be that Goku could easily just push them all back, but now they're introducing units that prevent that. So now it's actually harder to utilize his Kamehameha, because he'll do it, they'll live, and then they'll get to ult, and that's usually enough. If you can ult, you can kill. It's that simple. As long as you can still ult, you still have a chance to win.
Yep. So since we already talked about Gohan so much, we might as well just segue this into actually the PvP episode. Since we talked about PvP the whole time with Gohan's PvP relevance. So let's talk about the general meta overview of the teams, and then we can talk about the floater guys too. So we'll talk about Heart since we've already been kind of ranting about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But for me, it's the best team in the game. I feel like it's everywhere. It's every team.
Yeah, every team is currently Heart, and the only thing that can really stop it, in the sense of is a direct counter to it, is a light team that is built specifically to counter his counter the fact that you can't stop his cooldown. That's the only one, and even then, if you run Killua on a light team, then that kind of defeats the whole saving up bits part, because Killua can take down light shields pretty easy.
Yeah, so the main core of your Heart, the setup that basically everyone uses, but it's the main core for the Heart team. You have Vivi, you've got All Might, and then you've got Dai. Those are the big 3, basically, that are on every team, for good reason. So Vivi is a speed booster for Heart by a large amount, and she boosts the ultimate attack of all Heart units with her passive, which is already ridiculous.
And then her third passes is an HP buff to One Piece characters that helps keep her alive, but also, unfortunately, doesn't help if you want her to die.
Yeah, so Vivi is usually the one that I use, because mine is low overboost, so mine has lower stats. So they target her. She's usually the one that I used as just bait. Just kill her. I just want the passives. But, she has good uses other than the passives. Her ult's really good. It boosts damage dealt by an extreme amount for 2 turns for everybody. It blocks 1 hit of damage on Heart team members only. Oh no, actually that's not true. It blocks 1 hit of damage for all team members and then reduces damage received by Heart team members. So it's a really good defensive passive that also has an offensive buff. She has the ability to lower enemy cooldown so that they can't get their attacks off. And then I don't even remember what the third skill I use is, because I don't think it does anything. Block all damage for all team members 1 time.
Yes,
so it's a secondary shield.
Yeah, which I use a little bit, but the main one I see people using is the one that lowers cooldowns by 5%, and then the other one, which is the heal one.
Yeah, I see a lot of people use the heal one, especially if they have guts. So let's talk about guts, because that's why this team is so good for the most part.
That's where All Might comes in.
Yes, so All Might is a raid unit, so he's farmable. So if you're thinking, oh shit, I gotta pull all these units, not this one.
He's free.
He's completely free.
He's also the second most annoying raid in the entire game. Yes.
He's very hard. So his passives, at the start of the battle, all of his cooldowns are rolled forward by 70%. It boosts the HP of all hero allies, which is pretty much just going to be him.
Yep. Until my hero meta shows up.
Yeah, whenever that happens. And then when his HP is above 30%, he gets an attack buff. So that's okay. But the big thing is his third skill, which is called I Am Here, which is amazing. I love that name.
It's perfect.
So when any ally has more than 5% of their max HP, it applies a status called Guts, which means that they'll survive 1 hit of lethal damage.
So that makes it so a lot of units like, say, Dai, whose specific ult is made to kill you in one hit, you'll survive that hit. And usually if you can live long enough to even waste another person's skill or attack, that's good enough.
Yeah, so especially against someone like Dai, if you have Dai, like a lot of teams run Dai in Killua or Dai in Bobobo, if you have Guts applied, those two units are fast enough that you'll eat Dai's ultimate, and then the AI will pop the other character's ultimate just to kill your guy that's at 1 health. So they could die to any auto attack, but you'll end up eating 2 ultimates instead. So that's good. One application for it. Then the other one is it pretty much allows you to survive hits from guys like Light. One person will die to Light, but the rest will not. It tanks Yusuke, it tanks Goku, does not tank Naruto.
No.
Giorno kind of doesn't matter anymore.
I mean, I should say that so the way Guts works is that if you get hit against a 1 hit, you will always survive. But if it hits twice and the second hit could kill, you will die. So that's why certain units like Light, Giorno, when he's at his maximum team, could still, in theory, kill you.
Yeah, so Light's ultimate hits the entire party once, which it'll pop the Guts and they'll survive, but then it hits the target one more time, so the target will die.
Yeah.
But everybody else will survive.
Yeah.
And that allows you to keep going, and it allows you to get your ult off. Even if you only have 1% health, you'll still get that ult off.
Yep.
Bro, your dog sounds possessed.
That's not my dog, that's a parrot.
Oh, that explains why it sounds possessed.
Yeah, even though I'm in a new place, there's a new parrot. So
the second parrot.
Continue on. I'll mute until hopefully he calms down.
Okay, so then other than that, the last character for the big hardcore is Dai. We talked about him a lot. He is, I would say, the best character in the game. I don't think Wokey would disagree with me, even though he's muted right now.
100% agree.
Okay, yeah, he's the best character in the game. So his passives, at the start of the battle, all of his cooldowns are rolled forward by 30%. Now, that's a lot, and he's already a fast character. So he's going to go... He's usually the first ult in the game, unless the enemy has someone like Hime, Bobobo, or sometimes Killua, depending on the layout of the team. He boosts the attack of all protagonist allies by a medium amount. So guys like Super Saiyan Goku, Naruto, Light, all of them get a damage buff from him. And then once at the start of the battle, he rolls forward his Heart Ally cooldowns by 5%. So that's any yellow unit. Super Saiyan Goku, All Might, VV, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is going to get that buff too. That's why they're going to be so good together.
That skill is also good for when you're like starting out and you don't have a lot of good yellow units. Usually the 5% is enough to make certain yellow units who are not the best in the world actually seem viable for a bit.
Yeah, just to carry you for a little while. His ultimate attack is a single target attack. So we've been talking a lot about nukers up to this point that are designed to just wipe out the whole enemy team, so you're kind of just trying to get to that point. Dai is something more, I think people call them assassins in this game. It's a single target ult that's designed to kill just one person as quickly as possible. So Dai's is an 800% damage hit to the target enemy. That's a huge amount of damage.
Yeah. Before him, the highest person to ever have like a one-hit kill that was that fast was Hisago, and you could still stop him with Bobobo with his ult. And Yamcha is the same too, but Yamcha did slightly less damage. But both of them could easily have been stopped by Bobobo if you could have the chance to hit them with it. Dai's a little bit tough because only his... if he's out in front, only the first skill of Bobobo has a chance to stop him. Otherwise, if that goes through, there's no way to stop him.
Right, and then his skills are extremely fast. Most of the ones that you're going to use are going to hover around 20 seconds. He's got one at 20 that nobody really uses, and then all of his other ones are 21. So his skills are all fast, and there's a 30% buff to when they're going to go off.
You also
Go ahead.
shouldn't use the 20-second one, because if you do, on defense, it will always be the first one to go, and then the enemy team will be allowed to use their skill and kill your Dai.
Before your ult goes off.
Yeah, but not even, but yeah, before your ult goes off, you can actually, it will outspeed the ult, and then you'll have a big problem.
Right. So his skills are also all single targets. but the damage they do is incredible. So his first single target hit, it's just no special effects, just one single hit of damage, but it's 320% damage. It's a lot. And then he has another one. This is the other one that I use. It boosts his critical hit chance by a medium amount, and it does 250% damage to the target enemy. Also pretty good. So what I do with Dai is I use skill 2, hit him, and then go right into skill 1 to try to kill him. So Dai is usually good for about 1.5 to 2 kills per round. That's why this guy is so ridiculous.
Yeah, he is insane. He literally ran a rough shot for... Actually, since his release, he's been running a rough shot over PvP. If you want to know why you're not doing any better, chances are it's because you don't have Dai or you don't have the perfect counter to Dai.
Right. So, especially with the ultimate being pretty much a guaranteed kill, I mean, it does like 75% of Naruto's HP, and Naruto has a passive that reduces incoming damage by 80% if it's the first turn that he gets hit, and Naruto resists yellow units. So he's literally got everything in the world to not die from it, and Dai still does almost all of his life.
Yeah. There's only... I think he is one unit that can to tank his ultimate. The other two characters that can also do it is the physical wall soccer boy, who is built to just take up every single hit he can, and Toki, who is similar because he also has like an HP buff.
Right. And then Dai's got the two other skills that are usually pretty much enough to kill a second person. And if it's not enough, it's very close. And all of these skills will go off before pretty much anyone on the opposing team gets skills off, barring other really fast units like the other team also having Dai, Killua, or Bobobo, or sometimes Hime. Sket Dance seems like it's on the way out, but you still see it every now and again.
Yeah, Sket Dance is still useful because there's no... Except for Yusuke, there's not a lot of units that can survive a back row Hime hit. And even then, if they can take it, they still take a buttload of damage. So you still see them around, and as long as they can stun, they can win. But that's also like now their only really way for them to win. If
right,
there's no stun.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like teams that are all RNG, where if Bobobo doesn't lock somebody or you don't get the back row stuns with Hime, you just lose outright. But you pretty much win outright if they all go off, so, you know.
Yeah. It's better on defense where the enemy has to rely on their RNG. And let me tell you, I don't like using my RNG to fight any team.
Yeah, I only fight Sket Dance if it's someone that attacked me. If I see them in the listing, I don't even bother. It's not worth the chance of messing up and wasting a ticket.
Yeah.
And then the best part about this core, in my opinion, is how splashable the last couple spots are. So
yeah, you can go lots of different ways.
Right, so I think with Gohan coming out, Gohan's going to lock up that fourth slot. I can't think of any reason not to use Gohan with them if you have him. Yeah,
I think that's true. That's fair.
Yeah, but then the last slot you've got, the default is Goku, probably for most people. I mean, he's who's operated in that area for a while. Like, he was probably the lock number 4. I hadn't taken him off for a long time. Now I think you can probably take him off because I think Gohan kind of kicks him to the curb. Yeah. And it's also funny because Gohan's title is the warrior to surpass Son Goku.
Very fitting.
It's very fitting, yeah. And then that last slot, like right now, I use Killua. I think you do too.
Yeah.
He's a fast disruption unit. He's kind of low damage, but he's really good at breaking through what the opponent's going to do. So against Light, his ult does like the exact amount of hits to eat all of Light's shields. Yeah. So Light's pretty squishy without him, so he goes down fast. He kind of counters what Light wants to do. Both of his skills lower the opponent's cooldown raise, so you can delay ults and get your ults off faster. I think, in my opinion, he's the best one to eat that last slot, but it's definitely debatable.
Yeah. The way I see the team is currently, like, even before Gohan shows up, the 3 main ones are Vivi, Dai, and All Might. Let me just say, based on my current experience of my Vivi being too strong, Goku doesn't really stand up to many people anymore. So I feel like at that point you could use people like Naruto. I've seen people use Light, like Naruto and Light. I've even seen people go, which is a crazy combo of Vivi, Dai, All Might, Light, and then Urameshi.
I have seen Yusuke a little bit. He's the least used on the team I've seen, but I do see some Yusuke.
The funny thing about Yusuke is that one of his skills buffs All Might. So
yeah, the hand-to-hand ultimate.
Yeah, so the hand-to-hand thing actually makes All Might almost completely wreck a team if the VV is not alive to stop him.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But yeah, the team, you can run Bobobo. There's a lot of like different people, especially if you're like in the lower ranking. If you have like those 3 core units, I think it's pretty easy to get the PvP unit at least once.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much all of the good splashable units fit on this team. There's not a downside to use any of them. Naruto's good, Light's good, Bobo's good, Killua's good.
Goku's good.
Yeah, maybe not after tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
You never know with PvP sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought All Might was not going to be any good at all, and then it turns out he's God,
Yeah.
so...
I saw some dude, which blew my mind, at 1800 rank using an all slam dunk team, which I didn't know that was a thing.
I have never seen that before.
It's the only time
At all.
It was maybe the most like, wait, what? Team I've ever run into, because it was literally like, I don't understand how you made it this high, and then I thought like, oh, this is obviously a team that you used to lose, and then 6 hours had passed and he was still in 1800. And I was
Maybe
like,
it's good. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy sometimes when what you see at higher ranks. If you got enough overboost, you can make almost any team work.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so that's the Heart team. We've talked about it. It's the one I know the best because it's the one that I use, but I know pretty much most of the meta teams. So we'll switch over now to the Giorno blue teams, just because these are ones that I've wanted to use and I've always been missing a piece.
Yeah.
So.
If you want to talk about how the reason Heart is so good is because it's so splashable, Giorno has a problem of being kind of splashable, but then requiring 1 unit.
I'd say 2. I think it requires both.
3 units, actually. Because I just remembered, you need, so the basics team of the team is like Giorno, Bruno, and then you need a PvP unit that's locked behind a banner that barely shows up called Mom.
Yeah, you need all 3 of those guys to make the team work. So whereas on the Heart team, I've seen people run it without Vivi. I wouldn't recommend it, but I've seen people do it. I've seen people sub her out for Amano if they're going to use like Naruto and Light in the other slots.
Yeah.
I think Dai and All Might are the only ones that are like must-haves.
Yeah.
On this team, you have to have Mom. You have to have Bruno. It's literally impossible without those 2.
Yeah, because you will always lose to mirror teams of Giorno if you don't have Mom. Because what she does is that she's similar to Bobobo and Dai, where she lowers the cooldowns of all agility members by 5%, I want to say. And that is enough to put Giorno in a state where the only way to stop his ult is to use Killua. Even against Heart teams, you need to use some form of cooldown lowering or you won't be able to stop him. Excuse me.
Now, this is important because Giorno's ultimate is Gold Experience Requiem, and while it does, against Heart teams, it's not really that damaging anymore. I think it does like half of their life now. It cuts down their cooldowns by a lot. So if you have someone other than Giorno on there doing damage, like I think most of these teams now also run Killua, who also lowers your cooldown so that you can't attack.
Yeah.
When you have both of those going off at the same time, it makes it pretty much impossible to win because you'll never get to use any of your skills. If Requiem goes off, there's a very decent chance that you've lost just because you can't do anything.
Yeah, usually what will happen is that Gold Requiem will happen, and it will hurt your team, but it won't kill them. But then Mom will show up and will finish the team off.
Mm-hmm. Or you'll have Killua, whose cooldowns is the only unit I've ever seen that's fast enough to get a second ultimate.
Oh yeah, he is fast enough. If you do not stop him, he can get another ultimate off easily.
Yeah, Killua, I think he's pretty much, I guess I won't say a must-have because you can run the team without him and still do okay, but I think he is best in slot for that team.
Yeah,
he can go anywhere. He's another unit that's so good that he can just go on whatever team you want to put him on, though.
Yeah. So if you don't have Killua, you would need another agility speed booster, so you would have to use Sasuke or the volleyball boy, who I don't remember the name of.
Hinata is his name, I believe.
Hinata, there you go. And if you're hurting for damage, then you would also use Senna, because Senna also is really good. He's Eye Shield 21, and he does the fun thing of where he'll always start the game with an ult. The ult will make it so that every person on the team will take additional damage from agility, and if they're using Goku, they will automatically pop the shield, so that you're basically on an even playing field, except for your 2 support units are in danger of being hurt. And then he also has a skill that can stop cooldowns, and that's usually enough to stop certain units from hurting Giorno before he can use his ult, which is useful.
Right, and what makes Killua so splashable with that skill is that he makes your team win mirror unit matches by default.
Yes.
If you have an All Might, they have an All Might, your All Might's going first. Goku versus Goku, yours is going first every time.
Yeah, and Killua has that, and so does Senna. So they're both like different forms of useful. But that's basically what you have to do now for... this used to be a team that was like, if Giorno can ult, then they win. Now this is a team of, if Giorno can ult, they have a chance of winning.
Yeah, I think they generally win.
Yeah.
But whereas Giorno used to just nuke the enemy team and kill them, now he just kind of makes sure that the rest of the units can get the job done.
Yeah. And also Bruno, who we have not mentioned, is the 30% cooldown units for all Part 5. I think it's technically Gangsters is the characteristic.
It's anyone with a gangster characteristic.
But that's basically the characteristic for Part 5. And currently there are other units with it, but Giorno is the best because he's the only one that's agile and can fit the entire team.
Narancia, but Narancia sucks. So.
Yeah, Narancia has the problem of being random. The worst type of ultimate you can have in the game is one that hits random enemies, because... let me tell you, RNG is bad. Now imagine if RNG was not on your side and he just randomly hit, like... the most random ass units that you didn't need to be killed, and that's bad.
Right. Yes. And then Bruno also blocks a single debuff to them. So Sket Dance, Hime can't hit Giorno in the back row and stun him. He'll tank the stun.
Yeah. It will also stop one Killua, because Killua's 2 cooldowns also have an additional effect if we were like stun them, and if Giorno gets stunned, that's basically dead for the team, because he can't when you're stunned, you don't get any skill boosting forward, so it will basically kill the team, but that will be able to stop it. And then his second skill is a one that reduces the ultimate attack damage, and that's not game breaking, because again, his attack damage isn't the thing that wins games anymore, but it is annoying. But either way, he'll stop one of them if they're not running Hime.
Right. So this team, yeah, it's good, but it's pretty much the opposite of the Heart team, where Heart's very fluid. It has a lot of options. This team is pretty much Giorno, Bruno, Mom, Killua, and Senna.
Yeah. That's what I feel.
Pretty much it. Sometimes Rukia.
Sometimes Senna can be replaced for AI, I. Yeah. I keep forgetting, because she is an AI, but her name is I. Like, there are some different variations of the team, but the strongest form of that team is the one that Zen mentioned to me.
Yeah. You'll see I sometimes, you'll see Rukia sometimes. That's pretty much it, Naruto. To be honest. Oh yeah, they'll tech in Naruto or Light. Yeah. Light too. But I feel like if we keep mentioning Naruto and Light, we're going to say it for every team.
Exactly. So that just kind of shows you, like, Naruto and Light are the Ronin of Shonen Ore currently. They just kind of, like, go team to team, never really having a team of their own. But they have, like... well, Light has his own team, but Naruto is definitely a character who doesn't have a team. But he's in almost every team.
Yeah, he's so good that he doesn't even need one. He pretty much just does whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go on.
So we'll move on.
Another team.
Do you have a team specific that you want to talk about? Because I have a few more. But...
okay. I think you should go with yours, and I'll cover any, because I've been at this for an extremely long time. So
okay.
I'll let you go.
Okay, so let's talk about the Waifu Core, which is... The primary one that you're looking for is Aya. Is that her name?
Yes.
Purple?
Aya. Aya's the purple waifu.
So she's ridiculous.
She might actually be Let's just say, if there was any way to make Aya faster that wasn't just 5% at a time, Aya might break the game.
Yeah, so her ultimate reduces the damage that all enemy units deal for 2 turns by an extreme amount, and it rolls back their skill gauges by 20%, which is huge. That's a crazy huge amount. And she has another skill that goes off about the same time as that rolls back the skill gauges of the back row on the opposing team. So if they're holding someone like Naruto in the back, waiting for him to go off, she's going to cut him by a quarter of his skill gauge.
Yeah, and she'll hit him for 30 because the back row cooldown one is 5% for regular units, but then 10% if they're a protagonist.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 5 more if they're a protag.
Yeah, and then her third skill, which is the one you use, because she has 4 skills, but you only use the last 2. The other skill is one that moves forwards cooldowns by, I think, 10% maybe?
It is 10%, yep.
Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah, so she's cutting the enemy team by at minimum 20, sometimes 25, sometimes up to 30, based on the layout and their categories. And she's increasing yours by 10%. She doesn't do any damage, but she ends games. Like, if she ults, you're probably going to lose.
It's extremely tough to come back from that. Like, the only team that I think kind of counters it is the one that uses Giorno, but even then, every other unit gets hit by that.
Yeah, it's just everyone but Light, so then you're completely depending on Light to win the game.
Yeah, and if you take down Light, then there's no real saving. And a lot of waifu teams will continue on with the team. But that's their main head.
Yeah, that's the head honcho of that team. Then you have the quote-unquote yellow waifu, who her name was Iori?
Iori, yeah.
Iori? Okay, I found her right here. Yeah, so she's Heart. She doesn't actually ever go on the actual Heart team, but she's just another really, really good Heart unit. She's there because she prevents anyone with the heroine characteristic, which is basically all of the waifu units, and Rukia, I think, are the big ones.
Yeah, not Vivi. Vivi doesn't have heroine.
Yeah, Vivi for some reason is not a heroine. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I have no idea why she's not.
And Aurelie isn't a heroine because she's a protagonist, and I can go on a 30-minute rant about that, but continue.
Anyway, she nullifies debuffs on them one time, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but stopping Sket Dance from stunning Aya is like the entire way that you win against Sket Dance.
Yeah, if Sket Dance can't stun, then they usually can't win.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to clear the front row fast enough. So if you're playing this team, you generally always have Aya in the back row. I see some people put her in back row 1, some people put her in back row 2. The only thing about this team, I mean, to be honest, I think that's the main core. Those are the only ones that I see on every version. I don't always see the green or the orange.
The fun thing is that I think the only actual core to the waifu team is the it unit. And actually, it used to be, so back in the day, it used to be that you would run green and orange because it would roll forward their cooldowns. And that's extremely important. So if you don't know, the green waifu, I don't remember her name, but she would roll forward.
It is Itsuki.
Itsuki would do the cool thing of, like, she would buff. So the core of what waifu used to be is that they would buff one unit so much that they would end the game in exactly 1 hit. Like, they would just do enough damage to warrant the fact that you're using 4 support units. And she was a big factor in that. And she would also roll forward cooldowns by 5% for all waifu units, which is heroines. So Aya would get hers forward. And then the physical one, who I don't remember the name of either, she does the same, except for she's more attack-based and she can charm. But now with Aya in the game, it's much harder to actually charm dudes in the front. Or, like, it used to be, it's very RNG dependent if she actually got the charm off. But if she did, it would basically seal you the game. Yeah, nowadays it's pretty much, the physical one is Kawaii, is actually her name. Really? Huh. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. It was the 1980s, different time. It's a very different time. So yeah, Aya's the big one. Mm-hmm. Aya. And then you have the Heart one is the one I see the most, because it keeps her Aya running. Other than that, they pretty much slap on teams with characters who have really, really slow ultimates to make them usable, like Lee. You only really see Lee if Aya is on the team. Yeah. Because Lee, in his day, literally broke the meta when he was released, and then I think 2 banners later, his reign was over. I think it was like literally 2 banners later, they released Die, and everyone was just like, well, I guess that was fun while it lasted, Lee.
Yeah, so Lee's ultimate is it's about the same speed as Goku, but he doesn't have the same roll forward support that Goku has, except for Aya slowing down the opposing team. But he negates all the positive effects on the enemy team, so that means All Might Guts, he'll kill right through it on the entire team.
Yeah. And it's not a thing of like, oh, if he kills and it goes away. He just completely wipes the slate clean.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, if you can put on the full team VV buffs, her ult that negates damage, All Might Guts, all of that stuff doesn't matter. He's going to kill the entire team.
Yeah. He'll just go through all of it, and it's kind of amazing. And that's kind of why you still, even though he's not as good as he used to be, you still have to respect what his ult can do.
Yeah, he's still the priority target if you ever see him. And he's usually going to be on a team with, when I see him, I see Aya, sometimes the yellow waifu, not always, Soccer Shield Boy, Light, and Lee, and then sometimes Misa Misa.
Yes, that Misa Misa is a new addition to waifu, basically, because her skills help buff physical units so that they can use their ults much quicker.
Right, and so while the waifu team isn't inherently a physically inclined team, like for physical units, because the meta is all heart, they're pretty much always built around Naruto or Lee.
Yeah. I mean, those are the dudes you want to run, because those are the dudes that can end shit in one hit. It used to be that Rukia was enough, but now she isn't.
Yeah, Rukia's fallen off really hard recently.
If waifu ever got a heroine that was like multi-target, it would basically be the saving grace. That would be like a new blood into the team, but at the moment they just don't have that.
Yeah, Aya, from how raw powerful that her skills are, has survived, but most of the other ones, unless you use the yellow one just for Aya's sake, have pretty much fallen out.
Yeah. The other problem is that the best form of this team, which uses a lot of those physical and green one, the reason you don't see a lot of those is because they never came back. Those are free-to-play units.
Yeah, they don't cycle those a lot.
No, the thing is that a lot of those older ones are going to be turned into character quests, and the only one of the old... so when Waifu was released, it was in this crazy banner where you had Aya and Iori, and then you had a stage where you could farm 4 free units. And of those 4 free units, only 1 is currently available, and it's the blue one.
Yeah.
And that's the only one currently available. We don't have access to the one that's a tsundere support for some reason, and we don't have access to the green one, and we don't have access to the orange one, which really hurts. Because if they were easy to access, they would be stronger.
Right. You definitely see them more.
Yeah, but the way it currently is now, you'll have to wait till the day they add them in, which nobody knows.
It could be tomorrow, it could be never. God only knows.
God only knows.
All right, so after them, next team, the athlete team.
Yeah.
So this team is in theory, it's really good.
The
problem is they're all green.
Yeah. Technically speaking, I think this is the only team that on auto actually wins every single fight. The problem is that it loses every single defense.
Yeah, so athletes win a lot as the player. So if you're using an athlete team, you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
It's a really good team. There's a lot of synergy. There's 2 really big nukes. It's just a well-built team.
Yeah.
But it's weak against heart. So every single person in the entire game is going to attack you. So every single person, when they see you, is going to start stealing your points.
Yeah. Athletes is also the biggest proponent of, man, the AI is really stupid, because they will target the units that aren't. So break down what the units that are in it are real quick, just so we can explain, like, because I think this is maybe the most rigid team in the entire game.
Sure. So the main athlete team, you've got Fuji from the Prince of Tennis. You've got... What is Green Boy's name from the Prince of Tennis? Then I found him. Tezuka.
Tezuka, yeah.
Then you've got Rukawa from Slam Dunk. And then you have Captain Tsubasa.
From Captain Tsubasa.
From Captain Tsubasa. And then the last slot kind of changes around.
Yeah, a little bit.
I've seen Soccer Shield Boy from Captain Tsubasa. I've seen Ryoma from the Prince of Tennis. Sometimes I've seen Sakuragi from Slam Dunk.
Yeah, he can sometimes be in the team. But the best form of this team uses Kuga, which is from World Trigger.
Oh, that's right. I do remember him in here.
Yeah. It's because he's a speed booster.
For green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those other two units are good if you can't. The other two you mentioned, which is the Prince of Tennis and Sakuragi and people like that, if you can't get Tezuka, because Tezuka is a PvP unit. Otherwise, Athletes is the 5 teams, or the 5 units you mentioned. It's Rukawa, it's Captain Tsubasa, it's Kuga, it's Tezuka, and it's Fuji. It's those 5 and only those 5.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it's a good team. They've got buff ultimates with Fuji and Tezuka. They both have really good buff ultimates. Tsubasa is a really hard-hitting nuke. So is Rukawa.
Yep.
It's a good team, and you'll win a lot, but you'll also lose a lot. So you better have your eye on your PvP score at all times.
Yeah, the best way to use this team, I think, is funny enough on the last days. Just have people attack your team like crazy and then fight them back to win back points and never fight anyone else.
Right. Yeah, see, this is a team that would benefit a lot from the ability to have multiple teams in PvP.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you could set up this team, play with it, and then switch to a defensive team when you didn't want to play anymore.
Yep. Because this team does when it works, it's kind of like, you know that opening of Pee-wee's Big Adventure? When this team is working at its best, it's kind of like that, where you're kind of going, a lot of stuff is happening, and I died.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you don't know why you died, you just know you fucked up somewhere in the process.
Yeah, the issue is the AI can't run the team that way.
No, they can't at all. You have to accidentally let them use the team that way.
Yeah, you have to actively play badly to lose to an athlete team in PvP. Yeah. Because it's very easy to nuke the good parts while they're flailing around hitting characters that aren't relevant.
Yeah, if you can take down Rukawa and Captain Tsubasa, you don't even have to take down Captain Tsubasa. If you can take down Rukawa, there's no way for the team to win.
Yeah, I always target Rukawa, and I always target Tezuki.
Yeah, because Tezuki makes the fight annoying.
And then after that, they fall apart. Yeah, then that's Athletes. It's just those guys. That's it.
Yep.
You thought Giorno had it bad.
Yeah, this is maybe the toughest. I think I don't know if you weren't playing when Athletes first hit the meta, but Athletes hit the meta with the biggest whimper possible. And then it took we were like, okay, this PvP reward, now Athletes is going to be good. And then, no, it wasn't. And then Tezuka hit, and we're like, maybe now Athletes is good. And then it wasn't. And then Rukawa was released, and they were like, Athletes, after 2 arena units were released, and then 2 JAs are finally good.
Yeah, it needed Tsubasa also, because he came out while I was playing.
Oh, my bad. 3, because Tsubasa was the start.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a tough road, and it's only going to be tougher, especially because I don't know if you know this, Shonen Jump has 1,000 athletes. Yeah, there's a lot of sports betting out there. Yeah, so even now as we speak, Kanikuman is being released, and he is technically an athlete because he is a wrestler. Yes, Ultimate Muscle. Yes, so let's see if maybe the Kaniku Buster can help make the team a little bit more fun. Something's got to do it. Something. Another JA will help them immensely. They'll have an entire team of Jump Awaken units, and then they'll be back and ready to go. Yeah, Athletes will be the first 5 Jump Awakening team that is actually kind of bad. That's still not good. Still not that good. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, we make fun of Athletes a lot, but it is still legit a good team. Yeah, it's a very good team. We just make fun of it because when you're playing the AI, it's just the easiest win in the world. Yeah, exactly. Once you hit our stage, and you'll also be joining us and laughing at Athletes. Mm-hmm. All right, so what we got next, son? For the most part, as far as organized cores go, I can't think of too many more that are hugely relevant. All right. I mean, Sket Dance, if you want to talk about Sket Dance. I'll talk about Sket Dance just because they're the oldest meta-relevant team, and it's probably the easiest to make if you're just starting out and you're not re-rolling on the crazy-ass banner that we have going. That's only here for like another day or two. Sket Dance
it's here for exactly 1 day and 1 hour.
Yeah, 1 day, 1 hour. Hopefully
this might not even be up by then.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be editing like the wind. So Sket Dance is a team that uses 1, Bobobo, 2, Bassoon from Sket Dance, and 3, Hime, who I call Onehime because I watch Sket Dance, and she's also from Sket Dance. And Sket Dance has been around basically since Bassoon was first released with Sakuragi, I think. No, that was Onehime was released with Sakuragi, and Bassoon was released with, I think, Giorno.
That's correct, because I'm 90% sure that's correct, because I remember pulling for Giorno and getting him and being like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I remember pulling on Giorno going, I need this fucking Bassoon. Because Bassoon was the first unit, and probably still the most broken unit in terms of support, in that he gives 50% cooldown reductions for all Sket Dance users. So there's currently 3 members of Sket Dance, and you only use 2 of them, because unfortunately Switch is not that great, even though he's the best member of Sket Dance. But Bassoon does the cool thing of, like, he's able to attack twice, and his 2 skills are actually extremely powerful if you get to use them, that is, if he lives long enough, because he is tech, so therefore Dai will almost every single time take him down. The other unit in it is Onehime, or Hime, and she is the reason the team works, is because she hits the back row with an ult at such a speed that only thing that can catch up to her is a Bobobo second skill, and if she is able to use it and is not stopped, she will automatically stun any students. And you would think, like, that's not that good until you realize half of all shonens take place at a school. Yeah. And so there's a lot of units. Like, for example, Light is a student. All the athletes are students. Like, there's just so many... There's, like, so many... There was a lot of time where, like, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of units give, like, 1 debuff reduction. And that's because Hime literally formed a PvP around her ult. It was that powerful when it was released.
God, Yusuke is a student too.
Yeah, Yusuke's a student too. Did you forget that Yusuke was a student?
Well, to be fair, Yusuke blocks her though.
Yes, he does, and that's the reason why Yusuke is good. But you see, my point here is that a lot of people would go, "Oh, wait, really? Yusuke's a student?"
Yeah, because their shows aren't about school, but they still have the student tag.
Exactly. And the thing is, even if they're not a student, she still has a chance to stun them. So units that are just like, even Dai is not, like, if you put him in the back and he gets stunned by Hime, it's almost impossible to kind of win if he is your main guy. Because, like, at that point, then the rest of the other members of the team can easily, like, stop and kill Dai in time. And it's kind of the oldest team in the game, and it's the easiest team in the game, I think, to make, just because, like, they're always in the banner.
Well, Bobobo's guaranteed.
Yeah. You start the game and they ask you who do you want, and the answer is always Bobobo. And it's because Bobobo just has so much utility to him. He's also someone that has been in the meta since basically the beginning, since his first release. He was good when he was first released, and then they buffed him for some reason. It's maybe the most baffling thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, and he's really good. He's really good.
Yeah. He's pretty crazy insane.
So he's RNG off the wall, but when your coin flips land up heads, you just sweep the entire round. You can't do anything. The other team can't do anything.
Yeah. And the other thing that's good about Sket Dance is similar to Heart Teams, there's just a lot of, like, messing around you can do. Because the last 2 slots, you just need an AoE unit. So you can run Urameshi, you can run Light, you can run Goku, you could run Gohan, you could run so many other units because your main way of winning is through the stun. All that matters is that the other units are there to just live.
Yeah, Yusuke is the one that I see the most.
Yeah, Yusuke makes the most sense because the team is already predominantly strength already.
And he gets his cooldown pushed up by Bobobo. And he is one of the fastest ults, although I thought his ult was 31 seconds, and it's not. It's actually 33. so it's the same speed as Gohan.
Okay.
So Gohan is even more ridiculous than I originally thought he was.
Yes, he is. And the other team I'll mention, this is maybe a team that's kind of fallen off, but it's also just always in the background. I think it's still useful. It's just not as useful as it once was, which is Magicians. They used to be called...
Oh, you're talking about Chrome.
Yeah, Chrome. This is the only team I think that literally has one unit that it needs, and it's Chrome. And then the other unit is unfortunately free to play and not currently available, so that hurts her a lot. And so one of them is Chrome, who is from Reborn, and she does the cool thing of like every single magician on the field gets a defense boost, and then also prevents debuffs twice at the start of battle. And she has an ult that is 6 hits, and she has a kit that's specifically made to make her ult stronger and her to ult faster. So if she's able to...
She's by far the most parasitic character, though.
Yeah. When you build a team, it's 100% built around her. And that can be pretty tough, but like the other members of her team are like Itachi, who's able to take 2 hits of damage, and he's good at surviving and using his ult, and that's basically it. That's all you really need him for.
That's all he does, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other unit is another raid unit who is named, who's also used on Waifu. I don't remember her name right now. I think it's called
like?
Daki?
Let's find out. Sodaki?
Yeah,
the Wicked Temptress Witch?
Yeah, so this character's kind of crazy because she has a chance with her ult to charm the entire team for 2 turns, and if her charm works, you're basically dead because there's no way currently to stop charm. But if that wasn't enough, your entire team gets charred, and then they lose 30% of their max HP.
Oof.
So it's
Not
one of
good.
those things of like, if you want to talk about the most RNG heavy, this is maybe the most RNG heavy game in the team in the entire game, just because it uses a unit that's like doesn't always work all the time, but when it does, that's devastating. 30% of its HP is ridiculous. That goes past Light's shield as well.
Yep.
And when you're charmed, your team attacks itself. So not only are you like, it's worse than stun, because stun at least you don't do anything. Charm actually hurts your own dudes. So if you're using units who can attack twice, they're going to just be attacking themselves twice the entire time.
Yep. And then they have the Dragon Quest boy who
Pop.
I believe makes her ult faster, correct?
Yes. Pop is also good, but Pop also suffers from being free to play.
And impossible to get.
Yes, currently he's impossible to get, but he's also insanely strong. We don't mention it a lot, but every single Dragon Quest character is good.
All of them. Dai is the best character in the game.
Yep.
Mam is a team breaker on the team that she's on, and Pop is a team breaker on the team that he's on.
And Hyunkel is just good. Like, he doesn't currently have a team, but Hyunkel is just, like, insanely good. And also, like, he was the first unit that could prevent from being stunned. He gets an attack boost when he's 60% HP or less, and even more when he's at 5%. He also has, like, this insane skill 3 where, not skill 3, skill 2, where he hits the entire main team, and if they're yellow, if they're heart, they all lose 10% of their cooldowns.
Very good in the current meta.
Yes. The only problem is that he needs a team with him. That's what he's missing from the other team. And the only team he could currently fit on is Swordsman or Avenger, which I don't know.
Both are bad.
Yeah, currently both are bad.
Swordsman, though, might be on the come-up with that new Ichigo.
Yeah, it's also possible. Swordsmen have a lot of, like, support, but right now it's only all geared towards Rukia. So we'll see how that meta team... Like, there's a lot of meta teams that are currently just, like, under the underbelly. That
They're very close, and they need something to put them over the top.
Yes.
To be fair, I think Magician has fallen to that point. I think it's very rare to see it nowadays.
But it's also just one unit away from coming back, or one...
You know, I was actually thinking about this team the other day, because I remember back in the day I used to hate it, and I would be terrified of fighting her. Now she's a free win. and I was thinking about what would improve the team, and Yugi being a magician-labeled character would be huge for this team.
Yes, if he was actually a magician and could get a lot of the magician stuff, he would be solid. Yugi is another character who's good, but he doesn't have a team to go with, and currently he just needs that support. Like, as you can see, a lot of the way team building works is that you need support. If you don't support, like, the best units in the game are ones that attack and also support. Dai, an extremely good attacker who also supports the other team. Gohan is an extreme attacker who has a skill that also supports others, so that it's not only him carrying the entire team on his back. And that's the problem Chrom has, is that she doesn't have enough supports. She has a lot of units that like to do their own thing, but that's it right now. So I think Magicians is the only one that's kind of fallen down below, but is still good enough to get you a PvP reward character if that's all you're interested in.
Yeah, you're not going to climb to the upper levels of 2,000 plus with that team, but
no.
You can definitely score some good points.
Definitely. Some other teams that are just kind of on the cusp is Suna with Fire. Fire needs more support, but Fire is almost there.
Zanzis was a really good start because of his weird anti-protagonist attacks.
Yeah, he's anti-protagonist, and then also he deals even more damage when the entire team is set on fire.
So yeah, right now Fire is pretty much just what? Suna, him, and Itachi?
And Ace. Itachi's not even fire. You
just use him for Amaterasu.
Yeah, exactly. He can set people on fire, but he's not fire. If that
right.
makes sense.
He's not a fire. He doesn't have a fire characteristic on his character.
Yes.
But
exactly.
he can add the fire debuff, which is important for the team.
Which is needed for the team. But it's also missing like just a couple of units from being up there, I think. Same thing goes for hand to hand. There's a lot of support for hand to hand, but no unit to unify them.
Yeah, hand to hand is a lot of individual nukers, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. There was a brief period of time before the Vivi buff where I would say hand to hand was pretty good as a team, but once Vivi showed up, there's just not enough room for all the hand to hand support.
Yep.
You lose a lot of it. I also feel like maybe now that Sket Dance is going down a bit, they should add another Sket Dance character.
I think we can all live without Sket Dance for a little while.
I'm just saying, release one Sket Dance JA. And
it took us this long to get Sket Dance to go away.
Wouldn't it be funny, though, if they released a physical JA of a physical Sket Dance character?
Oh, God, don't even talk like that. They made a Sket Dance character that countered the current meta, because that's what we need.
That would be hilarious.
No, thank you.
All right.
No, thank you. That's a hard pass for me. Yeah, I'm still here.
But yeah, that's basically PvP in a nutshell right now.
We do have a few floater units that I think we should probably talk about because people are going to see them, but they don't really have solid teams. We've talked about Light and Naruto a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A couple others we want to talk about is Ai. We've mentioned her a few times, but not what she does.
Oh, okay.
She's pretty much hardcore protagonist support, like full on. I've seen people make teams, not high-ranked teams, mind you, but I've seen people make teams of literally just like Light, Yusuke, Naruto, Goku, and Ai.
Yes.
Just because her and Dai is also a protagonist.
Yeah. Ai is a lot of fun. Let me just say that. I think Ai is super fun, and she's useful in a way that Vivi isn't, where Vivi can run a very, like... Vivi is very good when put next to heart units, but it's very hard for me to say, like, oh, I have Vivi and Super Saiyan Goku. Should I keep this? I'm like, no, not really. You should get Dai, because Dai is the one who actually makes the team, and it's not Vivi.
Right.
With Ai, you have a very much a character who's like, she's just there to take up a spot. She boosts everyone's speed. She makes them immune to debuffs, and she's just there to help out everyone.
Boost their attack, too.
Yes. And also, she's weak, so she can easily die.
Yep. So passives stay the whole match, and she's just there to get foddered. And it's okay if she gets foddered right away, because just by existing, she's already done her job.
Yes. And if for whatever reason she does survive, she will roll forward their cooldowns by 30% with her ult.
Almost never gets there, mind you.
Never gets there.
That ult is 40 seconds. It's extremely slow.
Yeah.
But, you know.
If it gets there, it's pretty...
It's a nice ult if it happens.
she's also used a lot to, which is funny. I noticed this as someone who fights a lot of AI teams. She is the one that will always get the killing blow on a Killua.
Oh, because she does bonus damage to Killua.
Yeah, she does. And also because she's so slow, she'll be the last one to attack. So you'll always go like, I think my Killua will live long enough to like survive one more hit, and then she'll show up and punch him.
That is funny.
That is funny, but...
And then we have Yusuke.
Yeah, we mentioned Yusuke a bit, but...
Again, not really what he does. He's got a front row only ult, but it's tied with Gohan, and it's still, I think, the fastest team wipe ult, if you don't count the back row, I guess. But by the time he goes off, you're going to have only 2 left because Dai and Killua exist. His ult is 700% damage. It's a lot of damage. And then he kind of hard counters Light and Chrome if you see her, but he kind of hard counters Light. So Light has 6 hits of shield, and Yusuke has an attack that does 3 hits and then 3 more if the target is purple. So not only can he immediately pop Light's shield, but if Light's shields are already gone, Yusuke is going to kill him in 1 hit with just a regular skill. So that there's pretty much nothing that Light can do if Yusuke is there, because that skill is much faster than Light's ultimate. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We talked about Suna a little bit. I wouldn't really call him a floater yet. He can be if you don't have Naruto and you really want a physical floater. He's probably 3rd after Naruto and Lee.
Yes, he's kind of like the problem with him is that so even though he got a buff, they didn't give him an attack skill, which is very detrimental. That's something that both Lee and Naruto have that he's missing. And so because a lot of his stuff is all based around like his actual attacking, it can be kind of not the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it's very hard to kill people if you're stuck waiting on an ultimate and you have no other way to deal damage. And it's even worse when you're trying to kill people through guts and you can't do anything.
Yeah. But I do think he has a like tiny stun built into his ult. But again, you have to actually
get freeze, right?
Yeah, freeze. Which if the freeze does go off, it will kill him, and also he will deal super mega amounts of damage to hearts, which is extremely good. Super mega, by the way, is the highest tier of damage because it goes mega then super mega.
Yeah, boost this unit's damage dealt to heart enemies by a super mega amount. So yeah, he'll rip apart heart teams, but by the time he ults, the game's probably already over. So
it's very unfortunate. Let's see.
So yeah, anyway, in conclusion, do you have any final characters you want to go over?
Let me see. Let me take a quick look.
Do you want to talk about Misa since she's the current PvP reward?
Yeah, I'll talk about Misa just because she's the current PvP reward. Misa is a new PvP reward that you get for winning in PvP that has the effect of when she has her ult, which boosts forward he boosts the attack of all physicals by extreme, and then roll forwards their cooldown by 10%. And then her skill 3, which does damage to herself, but then increases the ultimate attack cooldown of all members by 7%. And Misa is a unit that I very badly wish to want to work, but I can't make her work until I get Naruto. But I do think that she's extremely good. I just don't know. She's another unit that's like right on this cusp of being like the current counter to Heart, but she runs into the problem of being just like 2 seconds too slow.
Yeah, her ult is 27 seconds, which is pretty fast.
And then even when you factor in 20% cooldown.
Right, so then at that point you're talking, she's probably going off at about 25 seconds, which is pretty fast. And she's buffing Naruto by 17 seconds? Not 17 seconds, Jesus, no, 17%. 17 seconds would be wild. 17% is about 3 seconds on Naruto, I'll
say, based on my experimenting with her, when she ults, it automatically makes Lee and Naruto ult. There's like no once she ults, it's over. There's no way to stop it. You're already gonna get hit by these dudes.
Now the issue with her, one of her reward cycles is already passed, so that's 2 overboosts you can't get without using drinks or whatever. 2, only 2 of her has been given out so far, if my memory is correct.
Yeah,
so
that's even only at the top.
Right, and that's only if you get 2,000 or higher, which I think you and I both did.
Yep.
So she's overboost 2 at max right now. She's incredibly fragile.
Yeah, she like literally gets blown on and she immediately tumbles. Like she can't even take an All Might ult, which is
no, All Might will solo her.
Yes, and consider the fact that she's strong against All Might.
Yeah, she's supposed to resist his damage and he'll still kill her. She's ridiculously fragile. So if you have to put her in the back, but then if you see her in the back, you still have enough time with characters like Dai and Killua to neuter whatever threat she's going to buff.
Yeah. And
so what she needs to be just either a little bit more durable or a little bit faster.
Like she just needs to be. She's not 100% there yet, but if she can get there, she'll be like extremely good. I think she'll be the next PvP reward that's like Mom, where you go like, God damn it, I wish I had her.
Yeah, she has everything on paper to be incredible. Like when I saw her at first too, I was like, wow, this character's really good. After playing against her and trying to use her a little bit, she is really good. She just needs. Maybe it'll change when she's overboost 6 and she can actually tank hits that don't immediately break her.
Yeah. I think she's the first case ever of a glass cannon support.
Yeah. She's made of glass, but when she goes off, the entire meta being heart, I mean, Naruto solos those teams.
Yeah. And when you're someone like me and Zen who has to fight a lot of heart dudes, you start wondering, I wonder if there's a better way.
Yeah, when 90% of your matches are mirror matches, you start really buckling down and wondering, what the hell do I do?
Yeah. When you're all of a sudden, let's say, having an overboost 3 Vivi and wondering, how do I make this character worse because I've just fucked up.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know the backstory to this, Wokey and I use the exact same team, which is All Might, Dai, Super Saiyan Goku, Vivi, and Killua. So my Vivi is overboost 1, so she's pretty weak. I never bothered to invest any in her because she's just a support character. So I maxed out my Dai, then I just moved on to Light, and I'm just going to build up Light and just let Vivi do her thing. Well, Wokey pulled another Vivi the other day, so he increased her overboost to 3, and that accidentally made her more durable than Super Saiyan Goku. So the AI now no longer targets his throwaway support unit and targets his incredibly important game-ending nuke unit first.
It's a terrible situation. I'm actively looking up ways to make her worse.
So yeah, he's reorganizing his equip panels. He's doing everything he can think of to make Vivi worse, because by feeding that dupe to her, he accidentally made Goku the priority target for the AI, which is what the priority target should be.
Yeah, and the reason that PvP is so easy sometimes is because the AI is incredibly stupid, and I'm in my own actions of me being an idiot, I have made the PvP AI stronger. Yeah,
so generally when you're playing PvP, I guess it's probably a good thing to talk about just because it's a PvP themed episode. There's 2 real ways to kill a PvP team. And that's you either take out the support that's going to counter your attackers, or you take out the attacker that's going to kill you. Pretty much every PvP game, I spend 20 to 30 seconds just at the enemy's team screen, figuring out exactly the order I want to kill them all in. What Wokey did was accidentally make the primary target of his team register to the AI as the primary target.
It was it's really bad, and now I regret a lot of my things. I've actually contemplated, if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna have to summon another Vivi and have
just to replace
my current Vivi, which would be maybe the worst thing possible to do. But it's either that or run I, and I don't have I.
Yeah, better hope Gohan is really durable.
God, and that's gonna be even worse. You know what? We'll deal with this on another another thing. But I think that's good for like a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and also just PvP talk. I think next time we're gonna try and actually get into like the actual playing of the game, which is a bit different. And
yeah, so PvP we wanted to do two because PvP and actual gameplay are like worlds apart.
yeah,
But I think a PvP episode is really important because this game, in my opinion, is a PvP game.
yeah,
This is a Dragon Ball Legends kind of thing. Like, it might not have advertised itself that way, but the single player content is extremely stale.
yep,
They never really update it. It's always just boss fights. You either do boss fights against the minor characters like Kakyoin, Kid Gohan, that kind of stuff to farm up, or you do boss fights against the raid bosses like All Might or Xanxus. That's pretty much all of it.
Yeah, which I find are actually fun, but the only problem is that it requires like there's end game content, and then there's this is really fucking end game content that not even your end game shit can actually do. And that's
Yeah,
what
by end game content, he means literally you have to have the one character who wins that fight for you most of the time.
Not only that, you have to have a team of units like All Might requires unit. It doesn't require units, but like it uses Chad. Like who the fuck is gonna save Chad from Bleach?
Yeah. I think doesn't it also generally use Kid Naruto, which is like has been one of the worst characters in the game since launch.
Yes. So it literally like goes like you should have a very like large and varied set of teams, and a lot of people are not built that way.
Well, and I mean the way the game works makes it hard to be built that way because you awaken units by feeding other units.
Yeah. So unless
Which,
you have,
if you're not lazy, it's not a big deal because you can just farm up fodder. But I'm lazy, so I'm not doing that.
yeah, so if you're like Zen, you're feeding other like units that you're not using, but then those units become good at raid. I think you've accidentally given away Momo multiple times, and she's actually extremely good.
I have like 4 of her now, and I refuse to even merge them together just in case I do something wrong. I'm keeping all of them alone, separate.
For the time being. Yeah, so we'll discuss more about that stuff in another installment. Maybe when the next unit comes out so we can talk about them and then talk about more about the actual gameplay parts of it. Because raid stuff can be fun, but if you don't know what you're doing, it can be extremely frustrating.
Yeah, raids are probably my least favorite part of this game.
It can be tough, but for me, for someone who has such a big roster of dudes, they're extremely fun. Except for Xanus. Fuck Xanus. Asshole. It takes me 10 minutes to do one thing and then gives me 3 drops.
Yeah, so just to drill home why I hate raids. So you get them by gathering tickets of the character. It's 50 tickets for 1 3-star, and the thing drops either like 3 to 5. Sometimes it can drop 10, but not very often.
Yeah.
And they're only up for an hour at a time.
That's actually changing.
Are they fixing that?
Yeah, so for the first year anniversary after Xanus, all raids will be permanent.
Is that only for the anniversary event period or always?
No, it's a quality of life change. They said started whenever there's a raid unit up, he's going to be up the entire time till he leaves.
Thank God, that's so much better because I farmed All Might and I cheated and it still took me like 3 days.
Yeah, that's a good quality. So I don't know why they waited for the 1 year. I wish they had like made it like because the funny thing is that Xanax released, and then 2 days later they're like, all raid units starting now will now be open all the time. And I'm looking at Xanax, who has a 1 hour window, going, could you not have like put this
just waited?
Just
yeah,
waited?
Either push it forward or waited to release him with it.
Because this is actually agony. And I will say there is also good things about the raids. Like now they've started doing it. Like the first time you fight a raid, and I want to say you beat it, you get like 4 overboost cans. And
You just get the 1, I think.
You just got 1?
You get 1 a day and a 3-star copy of the unit.
And I mean the very first time you beat it, you get 4 overboost cans.
Oh, maybe the very first time. I'm not sure about that one.
The very first time you beat it, you get 4.
I know every daily reset you get 1.
Yes, exactly. And
They're only plus 10 cans, but that still adds up.
Yeah, plus 10 is pretty good. It's like 10 cents a day.
Yep.
Eventually you get $1.
And eventually you're going to get 1 overboost out of it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at another time. But for now, I think that's good, and I'll try and get this up, hopefully while this current banner is up, so you can try and re-roll a Die and Vivi.
You've got exactly 24 hours to get it up.
Alright, I'm gonna try my best. Until next time, Zen, this has been... We didn't give a name to this. I'm gonna call it Ore Collection... S'more Collection.
Alright, that works.
God damn it. Alright, bye.
Bye, everybody. Good luck on pulling Super Saiyan 2 Gohan tomorrow night.